Hello there. Well, today we're with David Watt, Managing Director of Designer Yarns. Designer Yarns work with some of the best designers from around the world, from Debbie Bliss, Louisa Hardy, Norro, Arikana and Mirasol, and their own collection as well, DY Choice. They produce an incredible range of yarns and patterns year on year that excite every crocheter and knitter. So David, thank you for joining us today.
Very welcome, glad to be here.
David is also probably one of the best technical brains in knitting yarn as well. I think that's probably fair to say. He's worked, I think, since you were 16 in the industry?
Yes.
In probably every sector of the industry.
Yes. I've been fortunate to do that, to be honest. I treat that as a privilege.
And what part of the industry excites you most? Is the one bit that...
I'm a yarn man. I love product. I just love product. I love good products, and I get excited by new products. I think that's the most important thing to me.
I mean, it is. I find it a very exciting industry to be in. Well, we've got some questions, and a lot of those are yarn-based, on your technical ability. So I'm going to start with the question that we get asked more than any other question. What makes a yarn pill?
A combination of things, really. Obviously, everybody wants nice, soft yarns. A nice, soft yarn, really, if it's going to be a natural fibred yarn, so wool, alpaca, cashmere, these things, it has to be fine. The fibre has to be fine. So usually less than 20 microns in diameter, fibre diameter.
Right, okay.
The biggest problem with this, of course, is that the finer they are, the more delicate they are. So you have to treat them with a bit of care. And one of the things that the only thing that causes pilling, to be quite honest, is abrasion. So something has to rub the yarn to make it pill.
So having my handbag on my shoulder is not a good idea?
Not a good idea, right, and we get people, occasionally you'll get a complaint, you find that they've had a coarse pair of trousers on when they're knitting it. That causes the pilling. Even when it's being knitted, you see, it doesn't have to be in the finished garment. The pilling is caused by the fibres. Yeah. Rolling up into little balls, basically, because it doesn't like what you're doing to it.
Okay. Any truth in the rumour that yarns pill more now than they used to?
Well, I think that I more or less answered that in a way, that everybody wants finer, softer products. So yeah, you're probably right, but it's to do with the mix that people are buying. You know, you come up with a yarn now that would have been 10 years ago, you go with something like a normal merino, not extra fine. Everybody wants extra fine now. The normal merino's got a longer fibre length, will pill less. A crossbred, you know, you use something, or you know, something like a blue-faced Leicester, which is a long fibre, it won't pill. You get very little pilling. Okay. But you go for something like an extra fine merino wool, or a wool with cashmere, you've got all the ingredients, if you don't treat it right, to make it pill.
You've mentioned there my favourite yarns always tend to be something with merino. If you look back at what I knit, near enough everything else content of merino. What is it that I like so much about merino? What is it that makes it so different?
Well, it goes right back to the sheep, basically. Strangely enough, sheep have evolved because of the climate they live in. Right. So, take two extremes of England and Australia. English wools are coarse, by definition. The sheep have got to live up on the hilltops in appalling weather. They need a big, heavy coat that's water resistant and all that. Go to Australia, they get the other extreme, they get a lot of heat. And wool's fantastic because it's very clever. It knows how, it's thermal in every sense of the word. Right. So wool has got what we call crimp, the little waves when you look at it under a microscope. The merino wool is shorter, finer, and the crimp is more pronounced. Right, okay. So the air gets trapped in these crimps. So in cold weather, it keeps the cold out. And in hot weather, it keeps the heat out. So it's truly thermal, and it's for the protection of the animal, basically. But what you love about merino is because it comes from warm climates, typically Australia, South Africa, South America, the sheep don't need warmth, they need cooling. Okay,
so hence why everything...
So basically, I mean, the other thing people don't realise is wool isn't just to keep you warm. There is truly, your wool is cool.
You might smell that. I do like the fact that it is quite cold to touch.
Well, that's right. But also, you know, if you wear something like a Rialto lace, it doesn't make it can keep you cool. Actually, it can actually be cooling.
So, which is not what you expect, is it?
No, it's not.
Norro yarns, in particular, favourite of mine.
Norro is a favourite of mine. I have to say this. I've been fortunate to go to the factory. Not many people do, it's by invitation only. It's a very secret process they have. It is actually interesting because the machinery, a lot of it's handmade. There's a lot of handmade involvement. There is a machine and it's called mule spinning. Mule spinning kind of went out with the ark. The only place I can think of a mule spinning machine in the UK is in the Textile Museum in Bradford.
Right, okay.
The beauty of this is it's a very strange process in that it's very slow. So you can do things with these wonderful blends that Norro create in a single fibre yarn that's strong, relatively strong, when it should be weak. But the skill is in these, they have two Japanese guys when they're making the yarn. So the yarn is made from coloured fibre. Fibre is dyed. So if you've got typically a blend of wool, cashmere, silk, they will blend the three fibres together, then they'll dye the fibres to 5 or 6 different colours that you see in the striping of Norro. And then this guy puts them literally in a box in front of a machine called a carding machine, and he layers them up, and he's following a plan, but this is very skilled, they're doing it very fast. And they then push this box over the edge, and it disappears. Nobody can see it, nobody's allowed to see it, you can't take a picture of it, it goes under a canvas, comes out the other end, striped.
Seriously?
Absolutely. One of the wonders of the world for me. Absolutely fantastic. Mr. Norro is an incredible guy, very creative. You know, how he keeps creating new yarns in his mid-80s, which he is.
I didn't realise he was that old.
Absolutely, he's a fantastic guy.
Wow.
And the people there are so passionate about it. And there are Norro lookalikes, as we call them.
Yes.
But the true Norro fan knows the difference. And the biggest problem you have in Norro is that they can only make about 80 tonnes a year. After the USA, we're the biggest market, or the biggest customer of theirs, but you get what you get, you know, you kind of, you know, you're going to get your allocation of 20, 25 tonnes a year, and that's what you've got, which is also a good thing, because it keeps it premium, keeps it high class. And some people look and say, oh yeah, I can buy this acrylic version of it, and it looks similar. A real Norro, it's not.
I mean, you obviously work with some incredible designers.
Yes, we do.
Some British designers, Debbie Bliss and Louisa Harding, and Norro. You must get approached by a lot of designers as well. So how do you decide who to work with?
Well, I tend to have 2 criteria really. One is obviously they have to bring something to the party in terms of design. We don't want me too. This is why you have 2 designers like Debbie Bliss and Louisa Harding. Yeah. Very different look, a very different appeal to the knitter. So that's fine. And we get lots of people who come along and they want to be a Debbie Bliss lookalike and this kind of thing. So that's a problem. But we do get a lot of young designers who are very talented. Yeah. So then the second criteria kicks in is their technical ability. It's one thing creating a design for yourself and saying, doesn't that look nice? But can you put that into a design that somebody else can follow without errors, without driving them mad, which we all know it can do. So the technical ability is also important, and so we like to feel that we can give opportunities to young designers, and recently we've taken on board a pattern checker to make sure that we've got we can actually say, okay, this person is good enough to do this, but you know what, I'll check it anyway. Yeah, I mean, I think it's exciting, that side of things. There's a lot of people talented out there who are coming forward these days.
Well, I mean, we see it just from people coming in the shop and patterns that people are doing themselves and so on.
And they show some wonderful things. Yeah.
There just seems to be that real renaissance in knitting, and I personally think that the internet's fueled some of that as well, because it has almost made everybody a designer, because you can all publish a piece of work. But we're very careful when we publish free patterns and so on the internet, because not all of them will have been checked to the level that you guys check yours. Yeah, it's an important fact. If you don't want to hassle, it's very important. What influence do you have over the designers you work with?
Well, it depends who they are. Debbie knows far more about designing than I ever will do. We work as a team when we're going around selecting yarns, and it works great. Yeah. I mean, she looks at what she likes, and I tell her why she shouldn't do it.
You're a very brave man.
Well, yeah. Well, I can quote technical things to it. It's quite good. She said, okay. But equally, I would never try to influence Debbie. But having said that, you know, the designers are like everybody else. They need a bit of feedback.
Yeah, of course.
And they love our customers, our retailers and our knitters to actually tell them, you know what, I really like you to do this, or maybe you're doing too many of these. They like that because they work in isolation quite a lot of the time.
Yes.
And, so with the likes of Debbie or Louisa, as I said, they're far more adept at designing than I am, and I'd never have the temerity to try and advise, except to feedback what the feedback that we get. Then with others, of course, we have a very bright young girl in the office, Rhiannon, who briefs people because we know what we want. I mean, you know, if you've got a yarn like DY Choice with an ever-growing number of patterns behind it, you've got to tell the designers what you want, otherwise you get more of the same. So, yeah, there's an input, but equally I think it's a creative thing that you really shouldn't mess with too much.
Yes, as I say, I think you'd be a very brave man to tell David Bliss what to do. In terms of where, we've obviously been through, as we said earlier, a renaissance in knitting in the last probably 10 years really. Where do you see the industry going in the next 5 years? Any major changes that you see?
No, I'm very gratified. Having been in this trade man and boy for 44 years, wow. No time off for good behaviour, I've got to say that I'm really excited by what's happened in the last 10 years. And I think the great thing is it's not happened in a sort of patchy way. I've seen it before. I've seen revivals before. I've seen the 60s when it went down the tube so far you thought there wouldn't be an industry. So, you know, you can stand back a little bit and think, well, you know, this is just another cycle. But this is the longest cycle of upward trends that I've seen. It used to be like 7 years, 5 years. This is going on. And I think what's sustaining it is, I think the internet is absolutely a massive boost. And I think, you know, it's rather weird that when you look at retailing of clothing, for example, you've got kind of, you know, the Primarks and things like that, where people want instant product, they want to be able to put it on, throw it away, it's not expensive. And people are going the other way then and saying, you know what, I want something different, really individual, I want to create it myself. I want people to say, wow, that's nice, and you say, you know what, I made it. And so it's polarising a bit. I think the real area that's probably suffering is the middle a little bit, because that's, you know, and you see these messages coming out of the likes of Marks and Spencer, whose clothing sales are going down, because they're not one or the other. Yes. But I think in hand knitting, you know, as long as... when I'm looking at new yarns, and I know people will tell you that they get bored with me saying it, but I always say, look, the important thing about choosing a new yarn is not the price. I never work back from the price. I work on the basis, is it worth it? Is the consumer going to see that and say, yeah, it's worth it? And as long as we all do that as an industry, it can only get stronger. The biggest thing not to do is do what we did back in the 80s, where we allowed places like Turkey to take our industry away, because we all started to go down the cheaper route. Much easier for cheaper producers with lower labour to take it away from you. Yeah, of course. With what we do, and others like us, I'm glad to say, is we add value. And as I say, as long as it's worth it, I don't mind what we're charging for it, if people are prepared to pay it. Okay, well, thank you. I've probably learned more in the last 10 minutes than I have done in the previous 2 years, so thank you very much. I'm sure we'll go on to talk about this all evening anyway. Probably will, yes. Really thank you very much, David.